Hi, I'm Sonia, and welcome to Morning Tea and Manifesting, where I drink my morning tea and talk about manifestation from my own personal experience. In this episode video, want to talk about affirmations and why we use them and how to use them correctly. Because I feel a lot of you do not understand why you have affirmations and why you are using them, and you use them on a superficial level and then they don't work. The way that manifestation works, it's always working. Whatever you tell yourself is true is true. And if you are going to pick one affirmation and decide that it is going to be your savior and that's going to be the thing that changes everything in your life, you can be proven correct in that. But you will only be proven correct in that if you keep coming back to that is your truth. If you are doing it as a technique, I'm going to tell myself this a few times a day, and the rest of the day you are going to bitch, whine, moan, and complain. You're going to worry. You're going to keep going back to that you have a problem that you need to be affirming for in the first place. You do not understand why you're using affirmations. The inspiration for this video came from a comment that I got yesterday, and I think we need a refresher on why we're using affirmations and the kind of things that you need to look for when you are using affirmations to be sure that you are using them correctly. I liked this comment because it's finally a topic that has this issue that isn't SP. It's with SP, it's the same concept, but usually when I get these kind of comments in regards to SP. So let's take a look at something differently. I know you don't answer manifestation questions, which I appreciate that you put that in your comment, but I don't know what to do. I affirmed I'm going to pass my exams, but my results got out and I terribly failed. If I keep affirming that I pass my exams, will my grade change? I have a lot of problems with this mentality, especially with the multiple sad cry emojis in here. I really do not feel that you understand why you are affirming. And now this is coming from a lot of assumptions from my place because this is all the information that I have about this person's situation. But I was affirming I was going to pass my exams, but I terribly failed. I don't know what you were doing other than telling yourself I'm going to pass. Were you studying? Were you worried about passing? Do you always fail? This is where I always say it's your entire mindset that you are needing to pay attention to when you're manifesting. Are you afraid you're not going to graduate? Are you not smart enough to pass? What is the actual problem of why you need to be affirming to pass your exams? Because that is the actual problem that you are affirming for. And if you can say, I passed my exams, so none of that other shit matters, that is how you correctly use affirmations. I got my results and I terribly failed. If I keep affirming that I passed, will my grades change? If you assume that they can change, to me, the way that I read this, and I could be completely wrong, but just the way that this comment comes off to me is I knew I wasn't going to pass. Let's just say because I haven't been doing my work and I really haven't been studying and I don't know the material. But I'm going to tell myself I'm completely making that up because there's no context here of what was happening. I don't want to study and I don't want to do anything. So I'm just going to affirm and tell myself that I passed and I'm going to pass. But the whole time I'm sitting here thinking manifestation isn't real. It's not possible for me to pass. I'm not going to pass. I should be doing the work to pass, so I'm not going to pass, but I'm going to kind of come back to that I'm going to pass, and then I don't. But if I tell myself that I passed, my grade will just magically change, and I still don't have to do anything to get them to change. If this is your mentality, you are not changing you. You are not the person who could pass. You are not the person who could get your grade changed because you're focused on how you are a failure. From the wording of this comment, that's where my brain goes without taking a bigger look at what your actual issue is with your exams and why you need to be affirming for it in the first place. If you are not dealing with that, and if you can do it, like I said, I've done this video with specifically SPs before where it's if you are going to get your SP to manifest and you're going to use the affirmation we're so happy together, then nothing else could possibly be true because we're so happy together. Everything else has to go. How your grade changes if you need to pass this exam and you start telling yourself, yeah, I didn't fail, I passed. Somehow, some way, things will happen that will allow you to have that grade change. Maybe you do extra credit. Maybe the test was graded wrong. Maybe whatever. But most likely, something is going to happen that will allow you to pass if that's what you need to have done. It reminded me of a friend of mine who was worried that she wasn't going to graduate, and she kept trying to change her grades because she's like, I need this grade to be this, or I'm not going to pass, and I'm not going to graduate. I'm not going to graduate. I'm not going to graduate. And I told her, imagine yourself graduating. Stop micromanaging all this bullshit and go to the actual problem. You're afraid you're not going to graduate, so just assume that you graduated. It goes deeper than just the base of the problem. If you are actually going to use affirmations, use them correctly, and change you in order to have the experience that you want, you have to deal with your problems. And I feel like that's what I want to talk about in this video is actually dealing with the thought processes that you are having and possibly your physical world in the moment. If you didn't pass, I don't know why you didn't pass. I don't know what the circumstances of why you, again, felt that you needed to affirm, I passed my exams. But depending on the actual situation that you are in, there could be logical solutions that you could try to make this situation better. But if you aren't in the mindset of, I could make this better and I could pass and I am good enough to do all of that, feels like there's maybe some I am good enough not in there too. If you just are going to sit there and tell you, I passed, I passed, I passed, I passed, but you are going to stay in the mindset of, I failed, I failed, I failed, I failed, no amount of affirming is going to help you. And I am not going to be on here talking to everybody about all of their circumstances and figuring out action steps if there are any or affirmations that you need to do. That's why I put Learn to Manifest on here. Learn to Manifest is the course that I wish I would have had when I started manifesting. It is me. If I could go back and teach myself how to manifest, how I would have done it and how I would have created my belief systems so that I can do this correctly and get results. Because I feel comments like this are lacking a lot of understanding and have this underlying, well, if I just tell myself this, then everything will be okay, but you don't understand what you're doing and you don't expect it to work. And then I'm just gonna be honest. Here's another one. When you guys put the sad face emojis, I have zero sympathy for you whatsoever. Oh, I'm so sad that this happened. You have a choice right now in the moment of how you're going to view what you're experiencing. You are clearly choosing not to exercise that right or use your power and are choosing to be powerless. And that's partially why you're so miserable, is because you allow the outside world to dictate how you are going to think and feel. And your feelings are a byproduct of how you choose to view the situation. If you choose to view the situation in a way that's going to make you feel bad, when you start to feel bad, that's why. All possibilities are possible for you. Just because you failed your exams doesn't mean that whatever you're worried is going to happen next is going to happen. If you need those grades to change, there's probably a way to get that to happen. And it may just be telling myself, yeah, I passed. And then some stupid bullshit will happen where the grade changes and it was never a problem. But I do not feel that this comment and the way that it is worded, that this person understands that. They are stuck in complaining, but oh, but if I tell myself this sometimes, it'll make it better, right? Probably not. I'm going to just be honest from my experience. Until you understand why you are affirming and how it actually works, and that you are creating everything by the perspective that you choose to view it from, no one and nothing can help you. I feel like another good example of this is appearance change stuff. When I've talked to people about appearance changes, they are so caught up in, I'm going to tell myself I'm taller, or I'm going to tell myself I'm skinnier, or I'm going to tell myself whatever, my nose is different, I don't know, whatever it is. And they're just telling themselves, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm skinny, I'm tall, I'm tall, I'm tall. And then they go look in the mirror and nothing's different. If you were actually the person who looked the way that you wanted to, your mindset would be very different than it is right now. There's a reason you want that. What is it? What do you feel is not attainable to you because of the way that you look? That, whatever it is, let's just say it's a relationship. I'm not tall enough, no one would want to date me. You're fucking right. So if you were tall enough and you were the height you wanted to be, you no longer get to sit here and bitch, whine, moan, and complain about how nobody wants to date you. It all goes hand in hand. This is where I talk about your entire mindset is manifesting. And if you are not going to deal with the shit that you are going to sit here and complain about, nothing and no one can fix it for you except for you. Yes, you can fix it all with one affirmation, but you have to let that other shit go. You cannot be struggling in school and not smart enough to graduate and graduate. Which one is it? And you're not going to rely on the 3D to prove to you which one is true for you because you fucking know better. You choose and you're proven right. Or you can just let the world haphazardly happen to you. That's your choice. I used to live from a very limited place of, well, we'll see what happens. And now I have realized that no matter the situation I am in the present moment, which is all that exists, I have a choice of what is going to happen next. I have a choice of how to view things. I have a choice to go, yeah, you know what? That's not going to matter. Somehow it's going to work itself out, and let it go and focus on other things. But it has taken a fuck ton of practice at doing this in order to get my brain to the place where I could do that. I just recently did one of these videos where I was talking about how I feel that manifestation is a lifestyle, and this is why. Because for me, surface level manifesting bullshit never worked. What are you doing? Oh, you going over there? Jackson's tromping through all my stuff over here. It never worked for me. If I would have failed a test and then just been like, well, I passed, I passed, I passed, I passed, I passed, I passed, I passed. When I did shit like that, it never worked. It wasn't until I took a step back and really paid attention to what I believed and what I kept coming back to that I was able to then find the right affirmations for me to get my mindset to change and to get my perspective to change. And the more I've done this, the more I see it for what it is and how it works. But that didn't come from surface level bullshit. It just didn't. The surface level stuff of what's popular with most creators when they talk about this topic. It sounds really good to just be like, affirm an affirmation and everything will change. If you do not understand that you have to change your mindset, it is not going to work the way you want it to. I don't give a shit how much you affirm. I will say for me that having that mentality though, and not quitting, and having where I'd go in someone's comments and put sad face emojis and bitch and complain about my life more, is what got me to the answer eventually. I come on here to share my experience, so maybe you guys don't have to go take the long path, but I have no control over that. You do. You're the one who has control of that. And I will tell you from my personal experience, the more you ignore the actual problems in your life, that's your fault. You're creating that for yourself. And until you choose something different, you're going to keep experiencing that. You're going to keep experiencing that. Nothing else can come together and feel. You can't have a solution to your problem if you don't believe there's a solution to the problem. And it doesn't matter what it is or what you want or why you want it. And that comes again from taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture of what's actually going on, and being sure that you are dealing with those thought processes, whether that can be done with one affirmation or maybe you need multiple. That's why if I could go back, I would have built out my mindset the way I teach and learn to manifest. Because without the base of, I believe in manifestation and know how to do it and it works for me, and that I am the person who can have what they want because all these things are true about me, and this is who I am because this is who I want to be, everything else is like pretty much impossible. You'll get enough things to manifest to make you sit there and go, I'm on to something, I need to keep doing this. At least this was my experience. But you are not going to get the results that you want until you are truly willing to put in the work to get them. And that's more than just a little bit of paying attention to your mindset here and there. Like I talk about all the time, it comes back to presence, awareness, choice. But if you are not clear on if you don't start to see the patterns of what's constantly going through your mind and deal with it, you have no power. It doesn't matter that you're aware of it, you're not doing anything about it. When you don't know, before you realize that there's something going on, you're running on autopilot. It's just happening. And while you're aware that you're doing it, you aren't sitting there and questioning it. That's, to me, it's not about it being a subconscious thing. It's a you haven't thought to question it thing. As soon as you think to question it, that's when you start to have some power. And in that moment, you need the clarity of what you would like to be true, instead of waiting for other things to then start choosing what's going to be true for you. You can throw all that out and choose what's true for you right now. The more you come back to that truth through presence, awareness, choice, and having set affirmations so that you know what your truth is, that is how you get it to change. By dealing with the entire problem that you have around the situation. The more that I have just let myself run on autopilot and be like, well, I'll figure that out after this happens, or I'll figure that out, I would first need this to happen before I can even think about that. No, this is what I'm thinking about. I need to make a choice about it. I can have whatever the fuck I want. So what do I want? So that's how it's going to be. Why? Because I can think whatever I want, and this is where my brain is right now, and I'm going to deal with it, because if I don't deal with it, I'm giving my power away, and I'm sick and tired of doing that. all about being willing to make those choices. And that's not always comfortable, but I will tell you from my own personal experience, it's way better than being worried about everything all the time. Way better than the worry and the anxiety over everything going on. Now I can bring myself back to the present moment and self soothe that anxiety away. It may not completely go away, but I have been very shocked with my ability to use presence awareness choice, make a choice about what I'm dealing with in the moment, and how when I do that and I come back to, yeah, I decided that's not going to be a problem. Okay, my brain just accepts it now. But again, this has been years of me practicing this. Just like anything else. When you first start anything, it's a lot harder than when you've been doing it for a long time. It's different. I think that's coming to mind for me. One of the newest things I've been learning, I decided I wanted to learn how to yo-yo, do yo-yo tricks. And I've tried to yo-yo in the past and it never went well. And I decided not only am I going to yo-yo, but I'm going to keep a journal of how much progress I make every day. I haven't reread it, but I've been doing it now for a couple months. I want to think I started in May. I started at the beginning of May, and it's the middle of July as I'm filming this. But when I first started, I couldn't get the yo-yo to come back up the string. It took me a few days to get good at that. And now I'm working on way harder tricks and I have a better feel for the yo-yo and how to get the yo-yo to come back and what I need, how much power I have to put into it when I throw it, and all of this stuff that I had no recollection of when I started, I have now because I've been practicing consistently and trying to learn something new. Your mindset is no different. I like the way that Sadhguru talks about it. You have a supercomputer between your ears, but you've never read the instruction manual. Yes, you have been manifesting your entire life, but you were doing it from a place where you didn't believe you had any power or any say in how your brain was going to function. Now you know better, and it takes practice to get good at it. And if you don't want to put in that practice, I don't know why you waste your time watching videos like this. Because it is a waste of your time. If you are not going to apply what you are learning and figure out ways that are going to work for you, and you're just going to go in everyone's comments and put sad face emojis, I really don't have any sympathy for you. That's your choice. You are making it, and you get to experience that choice, which is what everything is that you're experiencing. The choice of how you choose to function in the world and how you choose to view what's happening. The more you learn to take a step back and make a choice about it, you'll realize you've had all the power all along. Thank you so much for watching. Love and light.